समझ नहीं आ रहा अपने सैलरी इंक्रीमेंट का क्या करूं।
बेटा इतना क्या सोच रहा है? अपने म्यूचुअल फंड्स के एसआईपी का टॉप अप करा ले। दिस इज द राइट टाइम।
क्या? समझ में नहीं आया।
बेटा इतना क्या सोच रहा है? अपने म्यूचुअल फंड्स का एसआईपी टॉपअप करा ले। दिस इज द राइट टाइम।
अब समझा।
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.
The aftermath of the Canada-India spat continues. Now, Canada's allies, particularly the Five Eyes allies, have spoken out generally with boilerplate statements saying that the allegations the Canadians have made are serious and they should be investigated, etc., etc., etc. However, what the Canadians have done is that they've named names. First of all, they've named Indian diplomats who they've asked to leave their country and they've been tit for tat expulsions. At the same time, they've brought in the name of a man called Lawrence Bishnoi. Now, Lawrence Bishnoi, this must be something he's been waiting to put on his CV for a very long time. He's just 31. He runs a very successful gang, quote unquote successful gang of more than 700 people, specializes in hiring cheap shooters. It's a new phenomenon in Indian underworld that you see these gangsters rising from Punjab, some from Haryana, but mostly from Punjab, and then hiring shooters from the poorer parts of India, that is UP, Bihar, etc., and use them as expendable gun fodder. So Canadian government, RCMP, Royal Canadian Mounted Police, has named Lawrence Bishnoi to say that it is his gang through which they allege that Indian diplomats have been working. And how have they been working? They've been recruiting shooters through these gangs or maybe setting one gang upon another. So we'll talk about that in today's episode of Karta Clutter. However, this whole thing is so cluttered and so complex that you can't look at one thing in isolation of 55 others. Now we can't talk about 56 things at this time, but I have to mention a few to set the perspective. And once I have done so, I will have Bismee Taskin, our reporter, join in with me. She's been covering these stories. In fact, we'll share a bunch of stories with you as links with the description of this episode, where she's covered these gangs and these gang wars very closely over the past 3 or 4 years since this came to a head. Now, if you want to see the big picture issues, so the big picture issue, if you want me to start somewhere, I will start with 23rd of June 1985. Now, I'm very surprised and astounded, not just with Canadian government, that you would expect. They are also usual suspects in this matter because they are complicit in so many ways with this. Canadian media, but you know what? A lot of the people think that there was no history before Google, but there was history before Google. Everything that's happened today started at some other point of time. So I'm taking you back to 23rd June 1985, and it becomes doubly relevant because it coincides, what I'm going to mention coincides also with this Canada-India dust-up over what is generally seen as the Sikh radical issue or Sikh radical slash Gangland issue or Sikh radical nexus with gang warfare issue, in which the Canadians think Indian diplomats are involved, in which India thinks Canada is guilty of looking the other way or allowing these groups to prosper in Canada. Nevertheless, why do we talk about 23rd of June 1985? That was the day that AI 182, that is Air India's jumbo jet Kanishka, was blown up by Sikh radical terrorists. Sikh radical terrorists put the bomb in it. Two inquiries have established it, although efforts are always ongoing to somehow create a revisionist narrative on this. Even now, one of these Sikh legislators in Canada has demanded a third inquiry, alleging that maybe Indian agents had bombed their own plane. That said, nobody in the world has any doubts. Canadian government has not had any doubts. It's just that they failed to punish anybody for this or call anybody to account. That is where the biggest failure on the Canadian side lies. And that's why a lot of the others of the same persuasion have found it convenient and have felt safe going and pitching camp in Canada and operating from there. That's where the Indian grievance also comes from. I'm not saying that the Indian grievance would then justify India to use, if it has, or allegedly use its diplomatic missions to then start fishing in that pond. That's a metaphor we had used yesterday. The question, however, is who dug the pond, who filled it with water, and who invited the fish to it. That is something that we talked about yesterday. So we are not going there. So the reason we talk about 1985 is that one, this dust up has taken place because India has been chafing for a very long time that these groups are prospering in Canada. Over the last 3-4 years, these groups have become active in India as well, particularly in Punjab. There have been several hits carried out. They have no popular support, but there have been several hits carried out. The odd Hindu priest has been killed, the odd follower of a Dera. And Deras who owe allegiance to these Babas, Gurmeet Ram Rahim, for example, they are seen as apostates or challengers to the Sikh tradition by conservative Sikhs, and it's a popular thing for the separatists to go kill them. So some of those hits have been carried out, and those have been traced back, according to Indian agencies, to Canada. However, in the middle of all this, something happened this week. Something happened this Tuesday. What happened? 10 Indian aircraft, civilian aircraft, received common hoax messages. By now, I think the number is 12. Common hoax messages from one Twitter handle, which soon disappeared, or was it taken down, saying there was a bomb on board. As I am recording this, I also noticed that two persons have been detained allegedly for these hoax calls. However, they've not been arrested. So we don't know how this will play out. However, this is much too much of a coincidence for us not to take note of. Now, I'm surprised even now. I'm seeing a lot of discussions on the media, but how come nobody has drawn at least a date reference? And that convinces me that people really think that there was no history before Google. Now, if this has come just a day after the Canada-India dust-up, the statements from the two sides, expulsion of diplomats, just a day after that, it also happens to be 15th of October. Why is 15th of October so significant? Because 15th of October 1992, once again we have to go back to pre-Google times. 15th October 1992, Punjab police in an encounter in Ludhiana killed Talvinder Singh Parmar. Talvinder Singh Parmar then was the top leader of Babbar Khalsa, the organization called Babbar Khalsa International. He was the prime mover, the prime plotter of the Kanishka bombing. So yesterday, it was the 32nd anniversary of his killing by Punjab police. Killed along with him were a bunch of other terrorists with him, and also two proven Pakistanis. Now, the story about him is a bit complex, as many of these are, because he had stayed safe in Canada. He had not been charged properly. He was quite safe. He had traveled to UK from Canada. At some point, I think Canada also said that they're trying to get him back, but Britain won't extradite him. Then he landed up in Pakistan. Then it looks like there are two stories. One story is that RCMP, Royal Canadian Mounted Police, alerted the Indian side that he was coming into India, but they laid the condition that they are letting the Indian police know that he was coming in, but they insisted on a promise that Indian police will not kill him. And it's folklore. And it's somehow believed that RCMP has carried the sense of hurt that Punjab police did not keep that promise. However, I don't take this so seriously. I am more inclined because I also covered all these stories at that time on a granular basis in Punjab, because 91 to 92, in fact 1990 to 92 was the worst period of terror in Punjab. That's when in one calendar year, 15,000 people were killed. 15,000. That was the worst year of killings for any period of violence or insurgency in India's history ever. 15,000 were killed. It was in that period I was covering this very closely. So the story I'd like to believe is that he was in Pakistan and he was lured by Indian intelligence. That's when KPS Gill, Ajit Doval, people like them were working closely together. He was lured from Pakistan into coming to India saying, you have a good gang here, you can do things, you can shore up the morale of your people and then go back safely. So once he was brought in, he was then caught in a bank robbery in Ludhiana, and that's where he was put away. Nevertheless, all these hoax messages came on the day which happened to be the death anniversary or the killing anniversary of Talvinder Singh Parmar. Very safe in Canada. Canadians actually never prosecuted anybody properly for the Kanishka bombing, although, mind you, very vast majority of those killed were actually Canadian citizens. It just so happens that most of them, almost all of them, were of Indian extraction. I'm not sure, and I'm not the only one who's cynical. There are many in Canada who are also equally cynical, who think that if these were actually Canadians, maybe Canada, RCMP would have taken this more seriously than they did, and that's a cause for hurt in India. And that's the message that Sikh radicals were also trying to send yesterday. That is what I'd like to believe. Because you know what? You might say, oh, this may be a coincidence that all these hoax messages came on this day. But remember the line from that James Bond movie, Goldfinger, once in happenstance, twice is coincidence, 3 times is enemy action. This is 12 times, right? There are no coincidences in this business. So what this is telling us is that this radical business is now coming back. It is not there in Punjab, mercifully. It's not there in Punjab almost at all. What's happened is that even the odd force that's come up in Punjab has come on the police radar, and they, over the past few years, have found it convenient to escape from India to Canada. Now, I know that Indian authorities also have to answer for this, that how did people like this jump past Indian immigration, right? All of us have to give our fingerprints now and what is called as the eye test, our iris test, etc. Maybe a lot of this was not there in 2016-17. It was during those periods that many of these people escaped and they found it convenient to go to Canada, where they found asylum. Now in Punjab, one political party in particular, which gives you a letter for a fee. They give you a letter on their letterhead for a fee, saying that you have threat from the police in India, you are an endangered person and you should be given asylum. I think the going rate, when I last checked, was 80,000. The gentleman has also given interviews to publications saying that, look, I have to run my party, why should I not do it? If I remember correctly, there was one on the print as well, which we'll share with you. So Canada has become the recipient of these. So the second point is that as the Canadian government and RCMP themselves said, that these gangs exist in Canada, because only when gangs exist, there can be gang warfare. They only accuse India then of exploiting these gang rivalries by aligning with one gang. That is the Lawrence Bishnoi gang, and Lawrence Bishnoi is now in Sabarmati jail. He's been in 7 jails over the past 10 years, including maybe a period of a month when he escaped from custody while being taken to a court. About that, we'll talk in a little bit of detail when Bismee Taskin joins us. So, gangs exist, gangs are fighting with each other. India is accused of exploiting this gang warfare. There is no allegation that India has brought these gangs or gangsters or criminals or shooters from India. All of them have come on Canadian visas. Many of them have come on fake passports, and then they've been able to run the process in Canada in such a way that the process has been very friendly, that their visas, asylum, citizenship has all been fast forwarded. Those are questions that Canadians have to raise with themselves. I think these will feature in the Canadian election campaign also. Actually, it started in 1975 when a man called Bhupinder Johal, alias Bindi, in Punjab, everybody has a nickname, as in Bengal, as in most parts of India. Bhupinder Johal Bindi he went to Canada with his mother, and there he joined the gang of already existing gang of Ron and Jimmy Dosanjh. They were running the organization called International Sikh Youth Federation. That organization still exists, and from all the data we see in India, even then that was supported by Pakistani agents. Now we've had in this inquiry that's going on foreign interference in Canada, Canadian ministers, senior people also saying that Pakistani intelligence has also been playing with Indian Sikh radicals slash Khalistanis in Canada even now. But in 1975 also this was going on. This is when it started. The next point, the key figure now, Lawrence Bishnoi, who's been named by Canadians officially, he probably is the first Indian gangster named as a person of interest by a foreign country, by a big foreign country, by a G7 country in this case, right? Pakistanis may have named a dozen people in India, that doesn't matter. In this case, Canadians have named him as a key figure that has really raised his stature to being like an international terrorist. However, he is in jail. Canadians have also said to Washington Post, the Washington Post is claiming this, that this is being run by the putative number two in the Indian cabinet. That's a very serious, that's raising it to a very serious level. And that's also raising Lawrence Bishnoi's stature to some other level. That is just a few days after he and his people have allegedly or suspected to have carried out the assassination of Baba Siddique, who is a very powerful politician in a coalition led by the BJP. So somehow in this business, in fact, in most of this business, 2 and 2 does not make 4. In this case, it looks even more confusing than that. And finally, how do these gangs in Canada then survive? Because they lead expensive lives. If you see their homes, they're big homes. Even home where one of them, Sukha Duneke or Sukhdev Singh, was assassinated is a very sizable, very big home. This, the Indian agencies suspect, is mainly done through drug running, drug smuggling, most of which is done in India, or through extortion, almost all of which is done in India. Having said all of this, now that we've set the perspective, we will have Bismee join in with me. Bismee Taskin, this is your first appearance on Cut the Clutter. I will tell you something, that if any gangster has done something in India and Bismee Taskin has not been on that story, then whatever the gangster did wasn't worthwhile from the gangster's point of view, because she's followed the gangster story very closely, and that's why she's here. Now, before I go to her, I will also tell you the fact that these forces started growing in Canada from the 1970s, mid-1970s, with the help of the ISI, the Pakistani intelligence, has also been stated by Ujjal Dosanjh, a former Canadian minister and also a senior politician, in an interview to us, of which I will share a link with you with the description. That said, Bismee, tell us about Lawrence Bishnoi. Where is he from? When was his first brush with law? What are the high-profile cases against him? And from where does he acquire such fame?
Right. So he was born in Fazilka district of Punjab in 1993 to a farmer there. His first brush with the law, however, started when he was in Punjab University. He never completed
My
the
university, but a long time after I left it.
Right, so student politics. He had his first brush with the law there in Punjab University elections. That was in 2011, 2012 that, that all of these things started happening. Now, this is where he started making friendships, lasting friendships with people like Sampath Nehra, and then there's Goldie Brar. He met Goldie
You will
Brar in
drop these
2014.
names. Who's Sampath Nehra?
Sampath Nehra is somebody...
That's a Haryanvi name.
Yes, Sampath Nehra is his oldest friend and ally of the Bishnoi Nehra Goldie Brar alliance. The rest of the friendships...
So the gang is a three founder gang. Lawrence Bishnoi, Goldie Brar and Sampath Nehra.
Right. So the Bishnoi gang started off being called as Bishnoi gang. But while he, carried on with his criminal activities, Bishnoi is a master negotiator. So he started getting allies from all over northern India, from Punjab to
I'll
Haryana.
make you an offer you can't refuse.
Yeah, sort of. Yes.
Real
yes.
mafia style.
Yes. Yes. So, going back to his time in Punjab University, he had gone in to pursue law. There he met Sampat Nehra. They became best buddies. But
That was 36 years after I passed out of that university.
Right. Now, Sampat Nehra was in a different college, but they would meet to play, kabaddi, basketball, and volleyball and other sports. Now, Bishnoi was first arrested in 2014. And this is when he met his godfather, Jaswinder Singh alias Rocky, a failed political aspirant who is a gangster.
In the jail.
He met him while he was there, because he's also from Fazilika.
Yeah.
So Rocky would keep his eyes out for young blood. The same thing as Bishnoi does now. At that time, there was no social media to keep eyes out.
That's just called talent search.
Talent search, right. So then he is known as his godfather. So Bishnoi's grooming happened during his time in Bharatpur jail. Like you have mentioned earlier, he has spent time,
Bharatpur in Rajasthan.
Right. Then he has also spent time in Bhatinda jail, Tihar, then there is Mandoli, then Sabarmati now. Then he has also spent brief periods of time in Jaipur, Ajmer, Jaipur, and all of these jails.
Seven prisons in all.
Yes. At least 7, because he was taken into custody for 1 or 2 days by other police. Now he cannot be shifted out from Sabarmati due to the Ministry of Home Affairs order. So it was during his time in Bharatpur jail, which was also flagged by Faridkot police and Bhatinda police, that he's started running his gang from Bharatpur jail. And then he was transferred. In 2021, the Delhi police slapped him under Makoka, after which he was kept in Tihar.
Makoka is the very tough anti-terror law.
Right.
Makoka is Maharashtra.
Maharashtra Control of Organized Crime Act.
Yeah. And many states use it, Makoka.
Right.
So he was locked up in that. So what is the law, or why the order to keep him in Sabarmati jail? Why can't he be moved? Because that's a question that will now be raised, that he's in a Gujarat jail. Is it to prevent him from carrying out more bad activity, or is it to enable him? Because he's still able to run his operations if at least he's got Baba Siddique assassinated.
Right. So, sources in the police have said that he's a high security prisoner. In fact, at one point, the Delhi Prisons Department did not want to keep him in Delhi. They said, take him away from here. He is a high risk prisoner, because also at that time they raised issues because other gangs like Tillu Tajpuria of a rival gang was murdered by another rival gang, Jitendra Mangogi. Yes, inside Delhi's Tihar. All of these are high security wars. So they said they wanted to brush their hands off Bishnoi.
Because they were afraid of gang warfare inside the jail.
Inside the jail, but not like after that, it did not happen. Big gangsters have been killed. One gangster was assassinated inside Rohini Court, Jitendra Mangogi.
And Gogi, which gang was he from?
Gogi ran his own gang, again young blood like Bishnoi. He was from the Bishnoi alliance, but he was also a Bishnoi competitor, because they were looking for a replacement, because people like Neeraj Bhavana, then the Devinder Bambiha were either killed or they were behind bars. So Bishnoi basically gained out of the death of Gogi.
And who killed Gogi?
Gogi was shot dead by Tillu Tajpuria gang members.
And which side was Tillu Tajpuria on?
I will explain the alliances. Lawrence Bishnoi, Rohit Godara, Goldie Brar, Sampat Nehra, Kapil Sangwan alias the Nandu gang, all of these, and also Jaggu Bhaganpuria, who is also an accused in Sidhu Moosewala's murder, is one alliance. Their arch rival.
That's like, that size of alliance will have, it sounds like a huge multi-party alliance in politics.
Right. Their arch rival is this Lucky Patial Bambiha gang. Now there is more in this gang. Adding to the confusion, while Devinder Bambiha was killed in an encounter in 2016, Bambiha gang
by Punjab police.
Yes, in an encounter. Bambiha gang has been taken over by Lucky Patial, who is believed to be in Armenia. Then there is Kaushal Alliance in this
It's
art
truly
triangle.
multinational.
Yes, it's international.
Because Goldie Brar,
yes.
who's like the number 2 in the Lawrence Bishnoi gang, he's probably in Canada. He was definitely in Canada till 2022.
After Sidhu Moosewala's
Musawala's
murder.
assassination, yes.
Right.
And then he was seen in America.
Yes.
And then lately he hasn't been seen.
Yes,
But
yes. He's been
presumed to
off
be in
radar.
presumed to be in
Yes,
Canada.
yes, that's right. So then in this Bambiha alliance, there is also Arshdeep Singh, Arsh Dalla, who is also believed to be a member of the Khalistan Tiger Force. Sukha Duneke was a friend and an ally.
So you're
of this
dropping
gang.
all these names, so we have to put these names in perspective. So all these names that she is dropping, right, of quote unquote famous or infamous people, they need some perspective. Arshdeep Singh or Arsh Dalla as he's known, right? In the gangland, after a while your real name is forgotten, right? It's what you are famous as that endures. So Arsh Dalla also lives in Canada. He's from, according to Indian agencies, from the same group as Hardeep Singh Nijjar. That is Khalistan Tiger Force, as it is called. That's one. Sukha Duneke, whose full name is Sukhdul Singh. He was assassinated on 20th of September 2023, which is a few months after Nijjar. Nijjar was 18th of June 2023. Sukhdul Singh, alias Sukha Duneke, again mostly known as Sukha Duneke. If you Google Sukha Duneke, you will find more entries in his name. If you say Sukhdul Singh, maybe 50 other Sukhdul Singhs will pop up. Sukha Duneke was also killed, and that time it was seen as a gangland killing in Canada. So those are the names she's dropping. And now RCMP also said they also brought in Sukhdul Singh's or Sukha Duneke's assassination also in their list of actions which they allege might have been inspired by agents allegedly engaged by Indian diplomats.
Right. So coming back to Sukha Duneke, the Bishnoi gang actually claimed responsibility for this murder. Now, since the time Bishnoi has come to power, especially
Come to power means in the gangland.
In the gangland, he came to power after the killing of Anand Pal from Rajasthan and Raju Tate.
So tell us, who was Anand Pal?
Anand Pal is this notorious gangster who ruled the Rajasthan-Haryana belt. His rise or claim to fame has been the liquor business in that area. Now, all of these also have ties to the murder of Karni Sena faction chief Sukhdev Singh.
That was caught on CCTV.
Yes, in Jaipur, in his own house.
And that was claimed by Lawrence Bishnoi gang?
Yes, Rohit Godhara, an extension, an ally of the Bishnoi gang.
And what was the reason they killed him?
So there are multiple things, but one of the main reasons was a murder in 2002, a very old murder. Then there was this liquor business, and the most important reason that they gave, because Goga Mehdi himself was a history sheeter. He had multiple cases, right? So it was bloodshed, it was pure revenge, it was also liquor, it was real estate. They wanted him out of that picture.
Bismee, I've been reading your stories, and I can also see that these gangs are quite cruel, as they would be in their business, but also they have a lot of loyalty rituals, which is almost like straight from movies or crime thrillers. And you particularly mentioned one about Arshdeep Singh and Arsh Dalla and his group. He, by the way, faces 20 criminal cases in India, including a beheading in Delhi. And this body apparently was found in some little tenement next to the Bhalaswa garbage mountain, which is one of the eyesores of Delhi. Huge garbage mountain. So what exactly happened in this case?
So the murder took place in December 2022 as per the Special Cell of Delhi Police. However, it only came to light in January 2023. Next month, yes, after the neighbors noticed there's a particular stink coming from a room, and because they had not disposed of the body properly. Even then in January, only some 7-8 parts of this particular man, this drug addict, supposed drug addict that you mentioned, body parts were recovered. Now 2 people were arrested and they have been charged under the stringent sections of the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. Naushad, 56-year-old. And Jagjit, who was 29 at that time. Now, as per sources in the special cell, Naushad was working for a Pakistan-based handler who was working for the Lashkar-e-Taiba, and Jagjit was working for a handler who was connecting him to Arshdeep Singh alias Arshadullah. Now we have read stories, we have seen news reports of how the Pakistan, how Islamic terror and Khalistan, Islamic terror and Sikh separatists often come down to create a law and order situation. Now this was a case where Jagjit and Naushad beheaded a man. How they identified the man? They don't know who the person is. They met this person roaming around asking them for money to buy drugs in a park in Balaswar, Delhi. They identified that he is a target after they saw the tattoo of a trishul on his hand, and then they killed and beheaded him. Now they also recorded this particular video, and Jagjit sent it to his handler to prove his allegiance to the Sikh separatist, to Sikh separatism, so that the handler sends it to Arshadullah, and Naushad sent it to his Pakistan-based handler.
Yeah, so to prove to you that we are worth your while, we are carrying this out for you.
Right.
So that was to prove to them that they could just kill somebody in cold blood for no reason.
Yes.
Scary. So remember, Fazilka, where Lawrence Bishnoi was born, is sort of bordering both Haryana, because more Bishnois live in Haryana than in Punjab, and more Bishnois live in Rajasthan. So that borders both Haryana and Rajasthan, and that's why the gang also spread initially in these places. Then it got to Mumbai and other places. Now, why did he kill, if he did? First of all, what is the evidence that Lawrence Bishnoi gang had Sidhu Moosewala killed? And if so, why did he put that hit on him?
So Lawrence Bishnoi supposedly made a call to Goldie Brar in Canada, sitting in Tihar 4 days after the murder of Youth Akali Dal leader Vicky Midhu Khera.
Vicky Midhu Khera was killed in Mohali.
Right.
And apparently by members of the Bambiha gang.
Yes.
By the way, Devinder Bambiha, who was killed in 2016, he's called Bambiha because he hails from the village Bambiha in generally the Moga area of Punjab, isn't it?
Yes.
So he was killed in a police encounter, but his gang endured after that. So why was Vicky Midhu Khera killed? We know that there was a Bambiha gang. We know that Bambiha also got killed in 2016. Other people took over his gang. But who killed Vicky Midhu Khera? And why were Lawrence Bishnoi and his partner hassled about his killing?
There is a lot of brotherhood and rivalry among these gangs. Bloodshed remains perennial throughout.
Bolte na, there's honor among thieves.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So Vicky Midhu Khera, Lawrence Bishnoi addresses him as his brother, Bhai. Vicky Midhu Khera was accused by the Bambiha gang of interfering in their day-to-day businesses, putting spies or people to give information on their property deals, on their other sorts of criminal activities. So they got fed up with him, and then they killed Vicky Midhu Khera. Now, after the murder of Vicky Midhu Khera, Lawrence Bishnoi supposedly made this call to Brar and told him that we need to get revenge. At that time, the investigating team had also come out and realized that Sidhu Moosewala's manager at that time had something to do with this particular murder. Allegedly. He was also accused of providing logistical aid to the shooters at some point. Now, sitting in Tihar, Bishnoi started thinking about it. In this meanwhile, in 2020, Sidhu Moosewala had come out with this song with Amrit Maan, Bambiha Bole.
Watch this. See this still on your screen. We can't share 2 lines from the song with you for copyright reasons, but I will share a link of the song. It's Bambiha Bole. Now, Bambiha, the reference, supposedly, at least that's a cover, it's to a bird. It's a small bird that is found commonly in rural Punjab. It also squawks. However, it is generally understood, Bismee, if I am correct, that while he used the bird as a reference, Bambiha, but this was also like sung in the praise of the Bambiha gang.
Yes, absolutely, especially because there was a use of a gun there. It was strategized in a particular matter.
Many guns, if you watch this song, it's actually promotes gun culture, vigilante justice. So
Yes.
you see these 4 rapists who the police can't prosecute. They are given guns and made to shoot each other by this gangster, right? There's also a line saying that I have everybody in my pocket,
Yes.
SHO, SSP, DC, right? So this looks like sung in the praise of gangland rule.
Right.
Right. And you think that Bishnoi's people thought that he had sung that song in praise of the Mambiha gang.
They already thought about getting him out of the way. But Bishnoi is sitting in jail. Everybody knows he has access to phones. He's watching, he's talking. He basically stalked Moosewala, and you'd keep seeing these reels. This song was actually very famous.
Literally called the shots and had him assassinated, and also claimed credit for it.
Yes.
Which Goldie Brar did then from Canada.
Yes.
Right? And all of the Indian efforts to get these people extradited have come to naught.
Right.
Because from what I understand from NIA people is that Canadians tell them that you have evidence, but this does not pass the test of Canadian standards.
Yes.
Right. Finally, Bismee, the Baba Siddique assassination, which you've been covering from here, and also Mansi Phadke and Purva Chitnis in Mumbai. What exactly happened there and why?
So the police so far have arrested 4 people. Praveen Lonkar from Maharashtra, Pune in Maharashtra. There is Gurmail Singh who hails from Kaithal district in Haryana. Then there are 3 other people.
Kaithal is not far from Punjab, so these are mixed populations, yes.
There is Dharamraj Kashyap, just 19 years old. He is from Bahrej in Uttar Pradesh. Then there is another absconding shooter who allegedly, fired the shots first and fatally shot at Siddique. And then the 4th person who was arrested today is Harish Kumar, who is also from Bahraich in Uttar Pradesh.
But these are all hired guns.
Yes, these are all sharpshooters. But among all of these people, at the center of this murder is this district, Bahraich in UP, because 3 people so far are from there. Then there is a scrape dealing shop in Pune, where all of these meetings and dealings took place. Now, these are all young men, young recruits. Not all of them have cases, or not all the suspects have cases. It is
except one. Gurmail Singh has a murder case.
Yes.
I think he killed a relative.
Killed his own cousin.
Or his own cousin with an ice pick.
Yes, yes.
Right?
He stabbed him 52 times.
Yeah, 52 times, and he got bail, and he is now doing this on bail.
Right. So the important key player in this particular murder, so far Mumbai police sources have told us, are the Lonkar brothers. Now Praveen Lonkar is in custody of the Mumbai police till 21st of October. His brother Shubham Lonkar, in whose name the purported post claiming responsibility of the Bishnoi gang in the murder of Baba Siddique
And
was
how
put
do
up,
we know
is
that?
absconding.
How did they make the claim on behalf of Bishnoi gang?
Shubham, they use hashtags.
So hashtag what?
Hashtag Lawrence Bishnoi gang, hashtag Lawrence Bishnoi, hashtag Goldie Brar, hashtag Shubham Lonkar. They also put in there their own names. Now, the Lonkars also have one case. It's an arms case from January. They were granted bail a couple of months later, and they were supposed to follow the SOP to go to the local police station in Akot subdivision of Maharashtra. But they had disappeared from 13th June. In fact, Shubham Lonkar was also questioned in regards to this firing case outside Salman Khan's house in Bandra.
Yeah. And Salman Khan's, see, first of all, I think Bishnoi says because I'm a Bishnoi and Black Buck is sacred for us.
Yes.
But more than that, do you think it's more for either extortion or for fame hunting that he's been targeting Salman Khan?
Bishnoi was 5 years old in 1998.
Yeah, I know.
Yes.
I know. So right now to claim that is fame hunting or is it for extortion?
I think
because Baba Siddique was Salman Khan's friend.
I think it is for dominance and for fame hunting. And also to establish dominance in Maharashtra. Bishnoi gang, this entire alliance and the rival alliance was only known in UP, Haryana, Punjab and Rajasthan.
Because Mumbai is where money and glamour are.
And also the Western belt. If you rule in Delhi and in Bombay, then you are almost ruling all over India.
Yeah,
That's what
so he wants to be the prime mafioso of India.
Right.
The godfather of India. Finally, once again, the question we talked about earlier, but why Sabarmati jail? I think you said that police wanted him to be in a very high security place. Is it that high security in particular? And if so, how could he still be carrying out allegedly Baba Siddique hit?
Bishnoi has been in jail since 2014.
10 years.
10 years, that's correct. A decade. He has only made one attempt
to escape
jail. He did in January 2015. He was arrested again in March 2015. It is hardly 2 months out. Bishnoi runs his entire operation from inside jail. Sources across police and central agencies have told us that he plays on two things: threatening the jailers and the jail staff, and also the caste card. Protection money and caste. These are two ways, and there are jail officials are compliant in facilitating all
So
of these things.
is there an order, a court order that sent him to Sabarmati and that said he can't be moved out of Sabarmati in Gujarat?
There is an order by the Ministry of Home Affairs under 268(1) of the then CRPC, which allows the central government to prohibit the movement of high security prisoners from one state to another. Now, this was passed last year. It was supposed to get over in this year August, but it has been extended. He is in Sabarmati prison because all the police in Punjab, Haryana and Delhi did not want to keep him here. So there is a case with the Gujarat ATS accusing Bishnoi in a drug smuggling case, in a 36 kg narcotics case. So the Gujarat police was taking his remand and then bringing him back to Delhi. At one point, all of these police forces, state polices said he needs to be moved out of this belt into a different high security prison. And also there were lots of murders taking place in Tihar and in Mandoli jails.
Yeah. That's fascinating, Bismee. And just I know all of us remember that, but Sabarmati is also a name that is so closely associated with Mahatma Gandhi and his ashram. And now you have this character sitting there, and he's now got this international fame or infamy. You can call it what you want depending on where you are coming from, but I'm sure he's quite enjoying it. He's loving it.
He loves his time in jail.
Yeah, because no gangster loves anything more than bad publicity.